Morning team, it's me, your favourite Jordan at the screen, and today, my darlings, I would like to talk to you about that now infamous Gillette advert. And oh boy, has it blown up in people's faces, has it not? I mean, it's really split opinion. Although I'm not too sure why, because the advert completely sucks ass. However, for some bizarre reason, there does exist people out there who seem to like it. Either way, in a show of solidarity for my fellow brothers who are really pissed off at this advert, and many of them are now boycotting Gillette and not buying their products, I'm going to stand strong with them. So you can see I've been refusing to shave, like disgusting feminists always talk about banging on, not going to shave to meet any gender stereotypes or any expectations of beauty. So I've got about 3, maybe 4 hours worth of growth there on my chin. It's just a bit of stubble, and I can't stress enough that it is just a bit. But today, what I want to do is I want to look at what this ad is all about, how people have responded, and generally discuss the backlash of it and offer some sprinkling views of it and opinions of it here and there. So without further ado, let's talk about that ad. The ad was uploaded to YouTube on Sunday 13th of January and is 108 seconds of pure misandry. It opens with the phrases bullying, me too, masculinity. Is this the best a man can get? Continuing by suggesting these behaviours, and further on sexual harassment, are taking over and have been going on for too long, because it has always been dismissed as boys will be boys. And they are suggesting that sexual assault, rape, bullying and misogyny is widespread and prevalent in men and boys, rather than being, say, a small percentage of them. They are taking these far outliers and pretending they are the norm as a way of, the stick to beat all men with. And frankly, this is utterly disgusting. And I have to say, I find it kind of hilarious, really, in an ironic sense, that they cite the Me Too movement here in this piece of feminist agitprop. What of the fact that the Me Too movement was heavily influenced following allegations of sexual assault against the well-known feminist ally, Harvey Weinstein. You remember Harvey Weinstein? He was an attendee at the Women's March. He sat next to Hillary Clinton at Planned Parenthood's 100th anniversary gala and pledged $100,000 to them. Remember him, that guy? See, here Gillette kind of alleging that the Harvey Weinstein type is the norm. Well, sorry Gillette, newsflash. The overwhelming majority of men are not feminist allies. We're not these, snakes who pretend to care about women and rape them, okay? That's not what we're like. In fact, only 4% of us men consider ourselves to be feminists, according to the Fawcett Society. So, to reiterate, the overwhelming majority of men are not feminist allies, these rapey scumbags. They're just not. We are not sexual predators, you misandrists. Anna Kasparian then features in the video, talking about allegations of a sexual nature. And she's part of the far-left news outlet The Young Turks, whose founder, Cenk Uygur, has openly denied the Armenian genocide. And the name of the outlet comes from the Turkish political movement that perpetrated said Armenian genocide. And so by having her on this, in this advert, it's akin to featuring a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white guy who has a show, called The Hitler Youth, whose founder would openly, deny the Holocaust. You might as well find somebody like that, get some nationalists on there, white nationalists, some Nazi skinheads. Why don't you stick them in there? I mean, according to Gillette, it's okay to have people on there whose peers, deny Holocaust and name themselves after people, who perpetrate genocides and stuff. Like, Jesus Christ, do your fucking research, or do you support it? Do you support the denial of the Armenian genocide? I don't know. Maybe you didn't do your research. Who knows? And then the advert condescendingly states that men can be better and hold each other up and, hold ourselves accountable, because apparently the allegations featured at the beginning of this advert are so widespread that only we men, only us, we can fix it from the inside, that we need to be constantly vigilant for this because it's happening all the time. One that absolutely fucking reeks of collective responsibility, that we have to be accountable for these other men's actions. Collective responsibility being the idea that if you're part of a group and somebody else in your group does something wrong, you are responsible for their actions. The whole mantra that, Hitler had about the Jews, oh well, some Jews are bad, therefore they're all bad, into the chambers you go. Maoist China, they had similar sorts of things, collective responsibility. So, well done, you're pushing narratives of, genocidal maniacs. Good on you. So, tell me, Gillette, if it is true that this behaviour is so widespread and prevalent in men, and yet you want to change it, which men are you pitching this advert to? If all of us are really these horrid, hateful bastards, then you're really pitching to the small subset of men that aren't. I mean, what percentage is it? How much of us are horrible, rapey bastards, and how much of us are nice people? You don't clarify this. Or you're just going to tar us all with the same brush. I don't fucking know. I don't think you do either. Anyway, continuing on, so I'm slightly deviating from my script. The advert then features some really, really stupid quote-unquote examples, and I'm using that word really, really tentatively, of these men being oppressive. In the first, a guy tells a woman who has resting bitch face to smile, probably because of her resting bitch face. Now, I'm not too sure what this scenario is supposed to be, and what it's supposed to be depicting, you know, because they're at this pool party, but there's a guy with this huge camera standing next to him filming this, and it's not like a handheld camera. It's like a big camera, so what's going on? Is it a music video? I don't know. If it is, then the director is simply telling one of the cast members to do her fucking job. But no, anyway, slight tangent. If this guy, after he tells her to smile, some white knight then aggressively jumps in, and about 3 people assist to gang up on this oppressive male. It seems kind of hypocritical, really, for Gillette to complain about bullying, only to then showcase 4 people bullying someone into silence because that person told a moody person to chill out, which is essentially what he's doing, saying, hey, calm your tits. And yet, this is supposed to be the height of female oppression, being told to smile. This is the Gillette narrative, women are being held back because, oh, God forbid, you should chill up. I mean, not women who are being gang raped and then decapitated, like what happens to women in the Middle East. Oh, nah. Not, having her genitals carved into, mutilated, and then stitched shut, for the barbaric act of infibulation, like what they do in the Eastern Horn of Africa. That means nothing. Forget about it. No, that's real oppression. None of that doesn't exist. Being told to fucking smile. There's your real oppression. God damn, these poor Western women being told to smile. I'm so glad Gillette has their finger on the priorities. They know exactly what's going on. And then in the next scene, features a Taylor Swift lookalike walking down the street. A guy sees her and starts to approach her to say hello. And this is the part where his white knight friend jumps in and holding him back, and he says, bro, not cool. And I'm assuming this is his friend, otherwise, who the heck is this guy diving in, putting his hands on somebody, physically grabbing him just because he's going up to say hello, without any context or understanding of what the situation is? And if he's not associated with him, then that guy who's just been grabbed has every right to accuse him of assault, even battery. Because it's physical contact. He's being held back. He's been physically restrained. He's full on pushing the guy back. Bro, not cool. Not cool. But really, so let's consider what they're saying is the oppression here, which is the act of saying hello. A greeting, a popular greeting that's hundreds of years old. The word hello, that is oppression. Not the white schoolgirls, who are being repeatedly raped over decades in the British Midlands. Nah, that's not oppression. Don't worry about that. Or schoolgirls being denied an education by warlords in war-stricken Africa. Nah, I'd sweep that under the rug. Forget about that. Men saying hello to women. Yeah, that's the real oppression. What should they say instead? Should they say, good day, my lady? Should they tip their hat, nod respectfully towards them? I don't fucking know. How are you supposed to make friends and associate with people if you can't say fucking hello? And I would go through the other examples, but they're just irritating. So let's move on to how the advert finishes, which is by showing what men already do, intervening when things go wrong. But Gillette says this is only some men. And only some men are nice and intervene and aren't rapey bastards. And that these some men, it's not happening enough. Ironic they say this, yet at no point in the advert do we see women, taking the lead and looking out for other people. I'm assuming women don't buy Gillette razors. And I guess that women doing that don't matter. And then the advert finishes by saying that the boys of today will be the men of tomorrow. A nice little conclusion. I'm glad to see that they understand the passage of time, how things work out. And I'm going to put my lefty hat on for but a moment. I'm going to join in on their nonsense. So on with the lefty hat. And I'd like to now complain about the blatant and utter fucking transphobia going on here. The boys of today will be the men of tomorrow. Who are you to fucking dictate that? What if they want to grow up to be a gender non-binary Fox Starquin? You don't know this. But yet you're assuming, you transphobic bastards. Off with the lefty hat, because that was poison. But really, ultimately, what a condescending message that is. How fucking patronising. Basically, you men are vile, toxic, bullying, rapist, misogynists, and unless if you damn well fix yourselves, then guess what? Your sons will grow up to become vile, toxic, bullying, rapist, misogynists, just like you. Nice one, Gillette. Nice, real nice, real cute. Men are toxic, and only men can stop other men being toxic. So boys of today do not grow up to be toxic men of tomorrow. I mean, like, genuinely, what the bloody hell heck? Would they be willing, by any chance, to say the same damn thing about other groups? And because of the hierarchy of oppression and the oppressive stack and intersectionality, I know I'm not allowed to voice an opinion on this. I, as a straight, white, cisgendered, heterosexual, male, able-bodied and all that kind of shit, I can't speak on this. So I'm going to pass the mic over to Imam Tawhidi. I don't actually have him here. He's not going to speak on my channel. That would be great. But instead I'm just going to show this tweet of his where he says, "Hi Gillette, I can't find your video on men who force women to undergo female genital mutilation, or force their wives and daughters to wear burqa, kill their women for leaving the religion, rape their wives because their imam allows it, form rape gangs across Europe. Thank you." Yeah, why didn't you pitch an advert to them, those sorts of guys? Or are they not the right kind of men you can call rapist scumbags? Peter Lloyd had something similar to say. He said, "Don't forget to tackle toxic femininity. You know, false rape claims, paternity fraud, parental alienation." But really, a question I have is, what were Gillette thinking? I mean, they create an advert showing what they perceive to be men being douchebags. They then admonish said men, their consumer base, for being these douchebags, and say, sure, some of you are all right, but by implication, most of you are not. You are vile, toxic, bullying, rapist misogynists. So sort your fucking act out. How many boards or iterations of testing and quality assurance, how many eyes did this pass under? I mean, how come it wasn't rejected? Did anybody at any point along the pipeline say, yeah guys, maybe we should just not? I'll show you why this ad wasn't rejected with some interesting information. So, according to the Irish Times and the Daily Mail, yes, the most reputable of all sources, the ad was directed by Kim Gehrig at the UK-based production company Some Such. And this is her here. Further, according to Adage, Gehrig was selected by parent company Procter & Gamble's partnership with Free the Bid, a program that launched in 2016 that aims to get more female directors on ads. P&G began getting involved with the effort last year. So thus, if you can't put two and two together, the director of the Gillette Advert, Kim Gehrig, was a diversity hire. She was meeting quotas. That's right. The voice behind the advert of men and masculinity being rapey, bullying, misogynistic, toxic, won the job, not on merit, but because of vagina. So that is why the advert passed. Because women need to sit at the big boys' table. It's kind of funny, don't you think, that the people that passed the advert were the very same people whose faces she was spitting in with the very advert. You high, powerful men, you're toxic scumbags. Oh, by the way, you have to accept my advert, because if you don't, you're a misogynist. It's well done to Kim Gehrig. Well played. You give him the two-finger salute whilst they're giving you a hand up. Hilarious. She was also, Kim Gehrig, she was also the woman behind the 2015 This Girl Can advertising campaign for Sport England and the National Lottery. And she also did an advert called Viva la Vulva, which was an advert for Swedish feminine hygiene brand Libresse, which features a singing clam held in front of a naked woman and additional vulva looking like objects as well. It's a very artistic advert, let's just say, very visually encapsulating, to put it gently. And this Girl Can advert, the whole thing, it's about female empowerment and features women engaging in sporty activity, saying, these girls can. It's about exploring one's potential and pushing their boundaries. Overall, a good advert with a positive message. Except for the moment where in the advert it says, I kick balls, deal with it. Alluding to, well, you know what it's alluding to, I don't need to fucking spell it out. And so yes, the difference in tone is just so damn noticeable. Male Lives Matter, the blog, pointed this out quite wonderfully. Because the former says, you men are toxic, bullying, rapist, misogynists. And the latter says, yes, you women can choose your desires, chase your dreams, fulfill your destiny, achieve what you want. A clear difference in meaning and direction. Furthermore, I'm going to slightly pop on the leftist intersectionalist hat again for this. But what in the bloody hell gives Kim Gehrig the damn right to argue any of this? Because according to this leftist feminist narrative, we men have absolutely no damn right whatsoever to speak on women's issues such as, say, menstruation, menopause, rape culture, or abortion, simply because we are not women. We lack the physical form. We lack the lived experience. So if we are to expect any damned consistency with their ideology, we never get it, but if we were to expect something new to occur, then it would stand to reason that women have absolutely no bloody right to lecture us men on our issues and lived experiences, as well. They lack the qualifications. I mean, who the hell does she think she is to be clam-splaining to us, us men, how to be men? Or does she think she can nag us men into being better men? When has that ever fucking worked? I'm going to take the leftist feminist hat off because it actually pains my brain to speak like that, because every single fibre of my brain is going, yeah, people have basic empathy, you fucking dickwad, but these are idiots who don't understand that. So, back to my script, I'm deviating again. I'd like to point out that the whole corruption and bullshit gets worse. Because according to Peter Lloyd, who cites insiders at Procter & Gamble, a female vice president of P&G recently told a 100-person strong meeting, quote, "I will never promote a straight white man again," end quote. And so following the disgusting advert that P&G has uploaded through Gillette, I would not be surprised if this is true. Gillette and P&G, you have set a precedent for your companies. Ultimately with this ad, I need to conclude with, how the fuck does any of it relate to razors? You all scumbags buy our razors. Hot damn, the responses have been utterly terrible. The advert itself on YouTube has around 1.1 million dislikes to around 623,000 likes. There was a period shortly after it first aired where the ratio was like 1 to 10, and the comments have absolutely slammed it. And there are a few people who have actually been complaining in the comments that the stats are fiddle because their comments were deleted and their dislikes were removed. Now, I obviously can't verify this. It's not happened as far as I've been aware for my comments and my dislike. But they have been repeated quite a fair few times, these claims, over the internet, so who knows, I don't know if they're fiddling with it or not. And people also took to Twitter to voice their disapproval. And I want to address some of the arguments and discussions going on in these responses. But firstly, I want to look at this comment. I've already touched on this issue in the previous section about would they do this advert about other groups, but there was this great comment I saw on YouTube that I really want to read out to you now. Somebody who really hit the nail right on the head. It's about 3 paragraphs long, so do bear with me as I read it out to you. So it goes like this, quote, "Let's pretend that we saw a video that showcased black people doing drugs. And then another black guy steps in and says, we need to be more responsible. Then they show black gang members about to knife each other up. And another black guy comes and says, whoa, we should be better, guys. Or maybe black men putting on ski masks and pulling out guns about to rob a convenience store. Then another black guy stops and says, stop. Not cool, guys. How would you feel about a video like this? It would be horrible, right? Racist. Discriminatory. Well, the makers of the vid can always tell the complainers that this video is not for all black people. Only for those who actually do the stuff in the vid. And then you could also say something like, yes, we know not all black people do these things, but there are enough of them who do, so we need to address it. And then imagine that every time a black person complains about that video, other people will silence these complaints by applying the negative stereotype on the speaker, as they will say something like, well, the fact that you're complaining about it must mean that you engage in the exact same toxic black actions shown in the video. Horrible, right? And yet, it's that exact same kind of stereotyping that is shown in the Gillette video. They take some of the worst practices done by some men and then present it like it's how majority of men act. They're presenting a negative stereotype of men. And here I thought we were fighting against stereotypes. What's worse is that every time a man complains about the ad, people are quick to apply that negative stereotype on the complainer, claiming the complainer is not a real man and is instead proof of the toxic masculinity showcased in the video. I mean, think about it. Isn't this the kind of discrimination we worked so hard to fight against? End quote. And as touched on earlier with the Imam Tawhidi tweet, I mean, he makes a good point. Would they do this about other groups? I can't see it happening. But yeah, hey, do it against men. It's fine, just all men as a sex. And again, harken back to what Peter Lloyd said, about maybe they should do one for toxic femininity. And we here at the screen wait with eager anticipation for Gillette Venus to do an advert for toxic femininity, covering issues such as, yes, the false rape allegations, female domestic violence perpetrators, both women on men and women on women, paternity fraud, mothers who use the court system to get back at their husbands, and female rape perpetrators on both male and female victims. Their tagline could be this, and I've stolen this from the one that they were already using, which is, women need to hold other women accountable. We believe in the best in women. To say the right thing, to act the right way. Some already are, in ways big and small. But some is not enough. Somehow, I think we'll be waiting a bloody long time for such an advert like that. If it ever comes out, don't think it will. Because it's okay to do a huge shit on men as a sex, but any other group, nah, you can't do that. Why is it that society likes to shit on men? Dunno. And so the mainstream media, as per the norm, have completely different views to the ordinary person, because they're so completely fucking out of touch. They wholeheartedly support the advert, decrying those who dislike it as being part of the problem. As mentioned in that previous YouTube comment, they say people who dislike it are MRAs, conservatives, etc. I'm not going to spend any time actually discussing what they've got to say, because we've seen it plastered all across the news already, and we know what to say because their drivel has been spouted everywhere, and it's the same old repetitive nonsense. It's just rinse and repeat, ad infinitum, ad nauseum. But one of the few voices not screeching about them MRAs and conservatives can be found in Forbes. The author Charles Taylor notes how Gillette has lost around 30% of its market share over the past decade, which, considering what will be mentioned later with the whole get woke, go broke, could potentially spell some end times for Gillette, no matter how unintentional on their behalf. And he points to 3 reasons why this advert went wrong. Number 1, while corporate social responsibility appeals can be effective, corporations must be sensitive to the potential of consumers being skeptical of their motives, or not wanting to be told how to behave by a profit-motivated company. 2, the creative in the best a man can be could be more effective if delivered differently, which is a bit of a fucking understatement, but, And 3, politically charged language should be avoided by advertisers. Duh. In point 2, he explains how the ad suggests most men engage in the negative behaviours shown in the ad, which obviously they do not. And this will irk male viewers and anyone who gives a damn about men. And in point 3, he rightly says the use of the term toxic masculinity was a flat-out mistake. Now, I would have gone further, and I will happily go further, saying it's complete bullshit, but as he was writing for Forbes, I can understand his gently approach. I saw on Twitter that Dr. John Barry tweeted about this and said that the advert inspires shame in men, tweeting out, "Isn't it time we stopped excusing bad behaviour?" Well, Gillette seems to have been advised by their marketing department that making men feel ashamed will sell more razors. Given the high rates of male suicide, isn't magnifying male shame a clear example of bad behaviour? And he's right. Research from the suicide prevention charity The Samaritans shows that men compare themselves against this masculine gold standard, which does prize power, control and invincibility. And having a good job and providing for the family is central to this, especially for working class men. And when men believe they are not meeting that standard, they feel a sense of shame and defeat. So for men, Masculinity means being strong for your family and providing for them, caring for them. And they also note how men do not want to burden those around them with their troubles. And if they feel like as if they are holding down their families, these men remove themselves to prevent them from burdening their families for any longer. Further, as the Harry's Masculinity Report, co-authored by Dr. John Barry and Martin Daubney, clearly shows, is that men value honesty, reliability, dependability, loyalty and commitment as the top 5 values considered most important to them as men. And the main predictors of happiness in men were job satisfaction and being in a long-term relationship. So men feel a sense of duty to those around them. It is a core part of their identity, what makes them a man. And if it's taken from them, this lack of responsibility, this lack of duty, this lack of providing for those around them, it can lead them to suicidal behaviours. So this Gillette advert simultaneously denies men's commitment to those around them, because only some men are good enough, remember, whilst shaming them for this so-say lack of care. It's like the message is so counterintuitive and stands in direct opposition to the literature. It's unbelievable. It's like, go the fuck outside. And I'd also like to cite research by Sturt and Geary, whose paper, which was published earlier this month, was titled A Simplified Approach to Measuring National Gender Inequality. And it introduced the basic indicator of gender inequality, which found that in more advanced nations, they are in fact egalitarian, but do show favour towards women and girls. But it is in lesser developed nations where women and girls suffer. So this narrative presented by the Gillette advert of us here in the West being shitty to women because it's us men, well, it just doesn't exist. And we here in the West do live in an advanced nation. And it does favour women and girls at the expense of men and boys. Look, for example, at the discrepancies in, say, life expectancy, genital mutilation, education, health outcomes, services for victims of domestic violence, etc. The list goes on. The Gillette advert portraying life as men being dicks to women simply isn't true. Dame Esther Ranson, the founder of Childline, said it was wrong to stereotype and blame one gender. She added that her experience working with the charity has shown girls can be as equally unpleasant as boys. She wrote that it is true that in some countries men have created regimes that repress women and use sexual violence against them. But to bring about the changes for the creation of equal societies, we need strong, empowered men and women to work together. Adverts such as Gillette set men and women against each other and create resentment. And it also tars all men with the same brush, she stated. And she's absolutely bloody right. It's trying to incite some sort of gender war, like presenting men and women as being opposed to one another, that men are victimising women. And this is something here that really, really pissed me off, what I'm about to tell you now. Newtown Fire and Rescue in New South Wales, Australia, put up a sign saying house fires are toxic, our masculinity isn't. And they receive a lot of social media attention for the different signs they put up out the front of their building, and usually to positive reception. However, this one received a lot of negative responses, so much so that they took it down, deleted the Facebook post which they used to publicise it, and apologised. So I shall reiterate that. They took down the sign, deleted their Facebook post, and apologised for saying their masculinity isn't toxic. So these men here who, at the fire station, whose job description is to literally climb into fire and risk their lives to save other people, were bullied into silence and shame because they refused to be tarred as toxic. Like, how fucking ass backwards is that? What are you going to do? Be in a burning building? He comes in and go, nope, I'm going to stay here and fucking die because I don't want your toxic masculinity to rescue me. You stupid twat. That, in my opinion, is evidence of the pervasive misandry in society. It's And I would like to momentarily discuss some hypocrisy I've noticed in response to this advert. Particularly what was mentioned earlier about that YouTube comment and what Charles Taylor was saying. So you'll see what I mean. So the dialogue went like this, in that Gillette released this advert saying men are violent, bullying, rapists, and then men turned around and men said, hey, if you want to say it that way, then fine, we won't buy your products, we're quite upset that you'd portray us as this and it's completely not true. And then the feminists and the leftists and the just general cunts responded with, haha, the men's and the conservatives and the MRAs are triggered. Lol. And yet it's these very same damn people who, 2.5 years ago were screaming, how dare Protein World show an attractive woman and suggest I should be physically healthy? This is literal oppression. The hypocrisy knows no bounds. And so here Gillette was essentially accusing all men of being vile, toxic, bullying, rapist misogynists. And Protein World only asked for people to be fit and healthy. Protein World's adverts were vandalised and covered in graffiti, as seen here. And yet these same feminists calling men out for not liking the fact that they were called vile, toxic, bullying, rapist misogynists. It's like the double standards. It's unbelievable. And in fact, they whinged and bitched and cried so much that the Committee of Advertising Practice, which writes the codes for all UK advertisers to accept and follow, actually changed its rules following the Protein World advertisement. So yeah, these same feminists who are telling men to grow a thick skin and accept these adverts which accuse them all of being, vile, toxic, bullying, rapist, misogynists, are the same damn feminists who nagged the Committee of Advertising Practice into changing national regulations. Talk about fragile feminism. Jesus. I despair. The outrage has sparked action, and angry customers are now saying that they will no longer purchase Procter & Gamble products. The hashtag of Get Woke Go Broke was also repeated a lot. So what Get Woke Go Broke means is that when companies and or organisations or what have you, whenever they get woke, they alienate their consumers and lose their custom, causing them to go broke. And so, if done improperly, this whole getting woke or talking about social issues or involving themselves in politics, if done improperly, it can really bite you in the ass, hence the whole Get Woke Go Broke, as it has done for many places, such as Dick's, the Ghostbusters film, Star Wars, Ocean's 8, Doctor Who, Yeti, Blizzard, Marvel's Social Justice Comics, Battlefield 5, Boy Scouts USA. See, those are examples of places that, endeavours that have tried to become woke, and it's not really worked out all that well for them, causing them to have, decrease in viewers or sales, and things having to be cancelled and closed, and alienating people who stop shopping there. It's like, as a provider, as a market, you really don't want to be spitting in the faces of people who buy your products. It's quite counterintuitive. It's really fucking stupid. So stop, but they won't stop. I don't know why I'm saying to stop. But yeah, what Gillette was doing was trying to jump on that whole bandwagon of looking like it cares. Hey, we're big, multinational billion-dollar company who cares about the little guy. And I'm reminded of that tweet. We are living in an era of woke capitalism in which companies pretend to care about social justice to sell products who pretend to hate capitalism. There's a sweet irony almost in it, I think. And the National Coalition of Men sent a letter to the president of P&G informing him the coalition will be boycotting their products, and included on their website a link to a list of all P&G products so they could all be boycotted. And I recommend my viewers to send a letter as well. And you can also join me. I'm going to show it again, my, 4.5 hour stubble. Yeah, fuck it. If the feminists are going to be disgusting and not engage in personal hygiene and have hairy armpits and shit, well, I'm going to do the male version and have a bit of facial stubble. And I can't help but stress a bit. That's all it fucking is. Anywho, I do recommend, yes, my viewers to send a letter to President of P&G. I do notice I slightly deviated from my script there. But we do not have his contact information for obvious fucking reasons. So P&G can be emailed through their online portal, which can be found in the link in my script, which is down below, or sideways, wherever YouTube will put the description box, should it ever change in the years I'll be on here. However, it could all play well into P&G's hands, just as the Nike and Colin Kaepernick advertisements increased Nike's stock prices and increased their profits. Remember the whole believe in something even if it means sacrificing everything ads? Yeah, many were irritated and called for a boycott, but the boycott and controversy actually played into Nike's hands because the outrage expressed served as fuel for a guerrilla advertising campaign. So the response to the advert was the advert. And it could very much be the same for Gillette and P&G. Hopefully not. I hope they crash and burn. So to finish, I would like to pledge my support for 3 companies, so as to end this video on a bit of a high note. Number one being Harry's, as mentioned earlier. They supported the Male Psychology Network to create the masculinity report that I did mention at the earlier part of this video. And they also fund and support a whole host of other men's initiatives, so I massively support them. 2, Dollar Shave Club. They support a lot of YouTube content creators, privately sponsoring videos. They help support, for example, H3H3. And yeah, the third company I'd like to support is eGuard Watches. Now, they actually released their own advertisement responding to Gillette, and it is frankly amazing. The CEO and founder of eGuard Watches, and you'll have to forgive me for completely butchering the pronunciation of his name, Ilan Sulovitz, he actually funded this advert personally. He filmed and edited it all himself because he truly believes in the goodness of ordinary men. So I do recommend, if you're going to be buying a new timepiece anytime soon, to check them out. So those are 3 companies that, I recommend we all support instead of, Gillette and whatnot. So yeah, that will do for this video. Thank you for watching. If you've got any thoughts on the Gillette controversy, please put them in the comments section if YouTube allows it. And that's it. Stay groovy. To the pit.